Greetings everyone, this is Connor from DagoraC TV, and in this video we're asking the question, what can the Elder Scrolls 6 learn from Fallout 4? So, Fallout 4 came out recently on the 10th of November 2015, and it's been a while since we've had a good time to play it, so we can now judge of what the Elder Scrolls 6 can learn from it. New engine, obviously. A new engine has been in dire need ever since Skyrim. Remember Skyrim at the Battle of Whiterun, when you're either the Stormcloak or the Imperial side? Well, I'm going to say from the Imperial side. So you're at Whiterun, you're defending the city, and you're just waiting for the Stormcloaks to come. You're thinking, oh yes, the Stormcloak's going to come, yes, it's an epic battle, and then 3 of them turn up. The engine always left wanting to have these massive player battles, and it's something that we've always wanted from the creation engine. And Bethesda said back in E3 2015 that they've improved their creation engine for the current gen systems, but Fallout 4 at the end of the day still left us all wanting. Going into the vault in the very early game and only seeing a handful of people around you, and same even walking around Diamond City, the city didn't really feel alive, seeing so little people. You could say it is likely of that of a post-apocalyptic game, but even at the very first game, when you run into the vault, you'd think there'd be so many more people running to the vault trying to get in other than the crowd of like 15 people around the guards. Comparing this to a game like The Witcher 3, which came out, don't forget, earlier this year, where you go into towns and cities and you see a huge amount of people and the world just feels completely alive. A new engine could also improve the enemy AI, which has always been wanting from Skyrim's Sneak. Sneaking up on enemies and being completely clueless of where they are, it's just not good. You can crouch right in front of them and stab them in the face, and then they'll think like, oh, must be the wind. A new engine could also improve the character models. I mean, look at the faces on some of these characters in Fallout 4. Some of them look good, don't get me wrong, but comparing these to games like Dragon Age Inquisition that come out, don't forget, last year, no voice actor is a must for the Elder Scrolls 6. I think the majority of people would agree that the voice actor protagonist did not work at all for Fallout 4. There's nothing wrong with the performances of the 2 actors for the main protagonist, it was just the fact that we had speech minimised into an option wheel. It's all well and good having a couple of dialogue options in games like Mass Effect and The Witcher, because in them games you're given a protagonist that you have a slight effect over the performance, you're still really role-playing the person that you're playing. The Fallout/Elder Scrolls games give you a huge amount of options when giving replies to the NPCs, especially in Fallout 1 and 2. Even at these points in discussion, when you're asking them about rumours in a tavern, or you're going in to find someone randomly walking up the wasteland and you go and ask them about questions of what's happened recently, scaling all of this back was extremely disappointing. Another point will be that in Fallout 4 there was 2 voice actors, the male one and the female one. In the Elder Scrolls there's 10 races, all with their own separate accents. And with all the males and females amongst these, you're going to have to do these script 20 times over, which is 10 times more than what Fallout had to do. So you can really infer, looking at that, is how if you're going to have to do more work, that's going to have to mean more money to go towards voice actors, and to kind of scale, they're probably more likely to scale it back because it would be so much more work to incorporate 20 voices into that for a main protagonist, for all the lines they've got to do as well, which is a huge amount. So I think with both of the reasons combined, in the Elder Scrolls games, I think we'd most likely want to have the more dialogue options, and I think it's better to roleplay your character, because it's impossible to do that when you've got someone already making your voice. Innovation on the RPG elements is something that would be vital for a fantasy RPG like the Elder Scrolls. The RPG elements on Fallout 4 has been downgraded massively from Fallout 3. Not to sound like a broken record here, but the dialogue wheel makes it harder to roleplay as a character, because you've already got that accent delved into. I mean, when I played Skyrim, for instance, every time I read the dialogue, I'd always imagine my guy as a really smart, crafty Cockney, and if I ever played Fallout 3, I'd always make him sound like Morgan Freeman, wandering around the wasteland. But doing this in the Elder Scrolls game would be incredibly of a wrong foot to go, because you're given a voice and you don't feel like the character is completely yours. The perk choice system in Fallout 4 has also been downgraded from 3 in New Vegas. I believe it was to accommodate a more FPS style of play and become a more casual front. In the Elder Scrolls games, these RPG elements is what the test fans thoroughly enjoy. Remember that first time you leveled up in Skyrim and you looked up to the stars and see all these branches and constellations of trees to go down and not knowing where the hell to put your point? Having that level of choice is good. Even when the Elder Scrolls games are classes like in Morrowind and Oblivion. Making your own custom class made it accommodating to your playstyle, and again, having that amount of choice when picking your character, doing the choices to make them accommodate your playstyle is very important in an RPG. Some people could make the argument that Fallout 4 has streamlined the process from Fallout 3 of leveling up your character, but I think as a Bethesda fan, I think I would much prefer having the amount of choice and the wealth of choice to go through the different abilities instead of having this much more easier process. Yes, it's good to go straight back into the open game, but I think it's thoroughly better to, with all these choices, to truly suit your character is a much better method to go by. Bugs. Remember back in E3 2015, Todd Howard said in a slew of interviews countless times that he had pretty much finished with the game, that Bethesda had pretty much finished with the game, And now they're going into bug fixing. 3 weeks later, Bethesda's Pete Hines tweets out saying that they're pretty much done with the game, and now it's all bug fixing. So we can say that they've been bug fixing really from the announcement onwards. So either Fallout 4 had an absolute shit ton of bugs back then, and they've just been grinding them out, or Bethesda was pretty much ignorant to them and thought probably the modders will fix it, because that kind of seems what happens a lot of the time with Bethesda games. I mean, I love Bethesda as much as the next guy, but the fact that they gave it a free pass to making broken games is completely wrong. Imagine if Ubisoft did this with Assassin's Creed, and which they did for Assassin's Creed Unity, and the amount of crap that they got from the fans of the series. We don't have to do this all white knight having to defend Bethesda thing, when at the end of the day, all they want to do is really make money from us. Yes, they do want to make a great game, but I think that would be better by actually releasing a game that works on launch. I hope this is something that will be fixed with the Elder Scrolls 6, as yes, it's good to have that modding community as a backing, just in case it doesn't, if it does come out with a few bugs, but they're coming out with the amount that Fallout 4 did, Skyrim did, Fallout 3 and Oblivion did, is completely wrong, and is something that they need to improve on. Overall, there's a lot of things that Bethesda need to take from Fallout 4 and improve the Elder Scrolls series with the Elder Scrolls 6. I really hope they take some time out to make the new engine. I can't stress enough how important I believe this to be. I think the idea of having massive battles in this fantasy setting, maybe in a Civil War questline again like they did with Skyrim, but actually big full-on battles would be very fun to take part in. There's so many more things to take away from this, even some of the positive sides. I mean, look at the short marketing cycle that Fallout 4 had. It greatly enhanced the hype for the game and it sold a huge amount of copies. And I think they should do this with the Elder Scrolls series. Not announcing the game too early and continue delaying the release date is something that's not good for a game company. And I think that Bethesda will do the right steps in announcing the Elder Scrolls 6 near its release date. But it looks like we're going to have to wait 2 or 3 years.